What sort of games do you usually report on? What's your preference?
Normally I do Friday night games and Saturday night games.
How do you find the sport here in Melbourne compared to the other cities?
The passion is no different. The only thing about it is that because Melbourne has 7 teams, it's a little bit more concentrated, but there's no less passion in the other states.
Is your love of sport affected in any way by the sport industry here in Melbourne?
No, I don't think so. I love covering the live sport, whether it be AFL football, whether it be tennis or whether it be golf.
How do you think Melbourne's economy/tourism would be affected if sports were not part of Melbourne's culture?
And they like to boast around here that it's the sports capital of the world. No, I think that's a slight exaggeration, but there's no doubt that sport plays an enormous part in this city. So, for instance, the Australian Grand Prix costs $50 million to put on, and there's always great conjecture here about whether it's worth the outlay. But the government and the Grand Prix Corporation always tell us that it's worth double that in terms of money spent through the economy, like visitors coming here for hotels and then going to restaurants.
As you know, theatre or musical theatre is also a big part of Melbourne. What do you think locals/tourists prioritise, theatre or sports?
I think that's really personal choice. There's a focus a lot on the theatre. Within the CBD there's probably at least half a dozen theatres which do attract an enormous amount of audience who do enjoy the arts and such. So, and I'm sure there is a cross working with that people who like sport also like theatre, so they can do both.
Do you believe that sport has allowed Melbourne to succeed as a world-class city?
Yeah, look, I think it has. I have a major events corporation which decided to focus on world events like the Grand Prix, like the Australian Open.
What games have you usually found the largest attendance number?
In terms of the AFL season, grand final obviously has the most people because it's a one-off event. But there's Anzac Day is huge, Collingwood, Essendon, it's packed out. And then of course if teams are doing very well like Collingwood and Richmond, it's nothing to get to 80 or 90,000 people just to a normal home and away game.
Do you believe that sports are the main reason why people come to Melbourne?
Most people I speak to tend to come here one way or another for a sport event, whether it's AFL, whether it's the Australian Open tennis, whether it's the Australian Grand Prix. So I think sport is still the number one attraction.
I think that's